U.S. Supreme Court lets in Louisiana electoral map faulted for racial bias. Washington. The Supreme Court on Tuesday reinstated a Republican-drawn map of Louisiana's 6 U.S. House of Representatives districts that have been blocked via a decide who located that it in all likelihood discriminates against black electorate, a setback for Democrats as they try to maintain manage of Congress in November's elections. The justices granted a request via Louisiana's Republican Secretary of Country to position on preserve U.S. District Judge Shelley Dick's injunction requiring a new map that has a second district where black electorate represent the bulk of citizens in place of simply one inside the version followed through the Republican-led nation legislature. The conservative majority 9-member court docket's 3 liberal justices dissented from the decision. Democrats manage the U.S. House by using a slim margin, making every seat essential in Republican efforts to wrest manipulate from President Joe Biden's birthday party one or each chambers of Congress inside the midterm elections. The New Orleans-based 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on June 12 had refused to reinstate the Republican-drawn Louisiana districts, calling evidence offered via black voters who challenged the map stronger than proof offered in defense of the map. The plaintiffs stated in their lawsuit that the Republican-drawn map maximizes political electricity for white citizens via packing big numbers of black citizens right into an unmarried district and dispersing the relaxation into the 5 others in which they are too few to opt for their favored candidates. The Louisiana legislature surpassed the map in February. Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards then vetoed it, criticizing it for failing to consist of a second black majority district considering that black voters contain nearly a third of the state's population. However, the legislature overrode the veto. Democrats have accused Republicans of exploiting country legislature majorities to draw electoral maps that dilute the clout of black and other minority electorate, who tend to guide Democratic candidates. Republicans have mentioned the attention of race in drawing electoral maps have to be restrained. After the map become challenged by way of groups of black citizens, one along civil rights companies consisting of the Louisiana NAACP, the judge ruled that the way it was drawn likely violated the Voting Rights Act. That landmark 1965 federal regulation for decades has been used to counter racially biased actions in balloting and drawing electoral districts. The plaintiffs mentioned that during Louisiana, stark racially polarized balloting almost universally results in the electoral defeat of black preferred candidates. Louisiana Secretary of State Kyle Ardoin mentioned in his criminal filing that the Choose's order to adopt a second majority black district requires race to predominate inside the mapmaking system, in violation of the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment assure of identical safety below the regulation. The Louisiana dispute mirrors one from Alabama that the Supreme Court has already agreed to hear that might further weaken the Voting Rights Act. Arguments inside the Alabama case are scheduled for October 4. The eventual ruling, due by the quit of June 2023, could make it tougher for courts to take into account race when determining whether or not an electoral district map violates the Voting Rights Act's Section 2, which bars vote-casting practices that result in racial discrimination. The Supreme Court's order on Tuesday stated the justices would take in the Louisiana case and maintain it till it decides the Alabama case. The Louisiana case is amongst dozens of prison challenges nationwide over the composition of electoral districts, that are redrawn each decade to reflect populous changes as measured by using a countrywide census, final taken in 2020. In maximum states, such redistricting is completed by using the celebration in energy, that may result in map manipulation for partisan advantage. In a ruling ultimate July in desire of Republican-backed vote-casting regulations in Arizona, the Supreme Court made it tougher to prove violations underneath Section 2.